it really comes down to what you claim and what you ask for in your life, because you will get that. And they talk about the science of the brain and what you can call and what you can picture in your life. You need to practice that. Even if you're not living the life you want to live, start envisioning, following people, getting mentors, people who are in places you wish to be, so that you can start envisioning that life. Like I talk about my mentor all the time. She is in her 50s and living absolutely her best life. She works 3 days a week, travels all the time, amazing husband, amazing son, has everything like she could want. And I'm like, she worked her ass off to get there. And I'm like, I want that life. I want that. Like, and if I have to wait for it, I will wait for it.
Julia, welcome back.
Hi, my love. Oh, it's so great to be back after
like
our hour-long conversation prior to this.
Yeah, I feel like it's something that every time I look forward to, first of all, catching up with you.
I know, me too.
How are things? How is life? And then we get to, it's kind of like we get into the recording if we get into it.
We're just like, for everybody listening, Osher and I, prior to this, we spoke for, 45 minutes. We were just catching up on our own life, that, just our private girl talk. And it's so funny because we kept saying, oh yeah, let's start recording. But then we're not done talking. But now we're actually in it, because we do accomplish the goals we set for ourselves. So we're like, okay, it's time. Let's go into it.
By the way, like with the first question that I always ask, is New York Knicks winning one of the impossibles that you...
Funny enough, it wasn't on my list, but I'm glad it is, because I got a diamond ring from it. So for the looks, one of my clients got me a diamond ring, so it has blue and orange. So I'm so grateful for that. I would say it was more about what my goal is whenever I take on a client is to help them add in healthy habits and nutrition. Working with the high-end level clients, though, is very hard, because they're so busy that, like, I don't get to really talk to them much. Like, it's very complicated. So I work with the chefs. So I have 2 chefs I directly communicate with, and the chefs are the ones that see them, and they'll get answers and they'll talk to them. So like for me, I feel like I don't have as much of an impact because I'm not directly talking to them. But I do know my role is important in being part of a team, being behind the scenes. So that's a huge part of it, is I'm just behind the scenes and I'm part of a team. And so it was a blessing to see them win. I was sitting on my friend's couch, they won, and I was just like jumping up and down, and then I ran in the streets and I screamed, and you could hear everybody screaming in New York. It was so fun.
I saw the clips. It looked crazy.
Crazy. Girl, New York is like, people are just so nice. Nobody's purposely hitting anybody or like or like going after anybody. Everybody's just so nice now in New York. It's because it's big. It's 53 years. I think 53 years since they last won.
It was something crazy.
Yeah. So the fact that, and I got to hold the trophy, not hold it, I touched the trophy. I was too nervous to go near. I was too nervous to pick it up. On Saturday, I saw the trophy when I got my ring, and I was like, okay, let me just touch it. But I was like, I don't want to pick it up. I don't want to drop it. I don't want the risk of any of it.
Yep.
So I was like, let me just go near it, and that's it. So that's it was a blessing, man.
Yeah, there are those moments when it's kind of like one of the highlights of the life that you live.
It is. Like, I laugh because on my vision board, I had put that I would get a diamond ring from a man this year, and I wasn't specific enough. So I wanted to be a diamond. I was like, okay, God, let me be more specific and say, like, I want a diamond ring from my future husband. But I got a diamond ring from my client, who's a man. So I was like,
so what's the wisdom you can give to people?
Be specific in what you ask for. Be specific in what you want, because if you ask for more patience and you asked for that, you might be tested with patients sitting in an hour and a half traffic every single day. That might be your test of patience. So be very careful what you ask for. And I say that because there's this girl on Instagram. Do you know Shelby? She sells Shelby something. She has like millions of following. She's very, very successful, this badass like 24-year-old to 25-year-old. And she's very wealthy. She lives a rich girl life because she worked her ass off to get there. And she's very much, I just like her.
I know.
You do.
I know.
I just like her because she's a badass. I'm like, this girl's awesome. And so for her, she had said, she put out, she's like, no, this is the house I'm getting. This is what I want. This is what's happening.
I saw the house, yeah.
And she got it. And I was like, okay, so I need to be more specific in what I want and what I'm asking, because 2 years ago, everybody before this, I was telling Osher I journal a lot and things happen, not on my timing, but it happens after I journal. So 2 years ago, I had written that one of my clients, one of my NBA players would be my client, would sign on 2 years ago. 2 years later, I literally get him as a client. And I was like, Hart's going to be my client. And 2 years later it happened. And I was like, okay, this is really cool. It doesn't happen on my timing, but like even with the books I write and the book I'm working on, that we still don't have any official timeline, anything set yet, but I'm like, it's gonna happen. Even though it's been 2.5 years in the making, or almost 3 years in the making, it's something that I've learned to let go and surrender and be patient about. And the thing that I really want to practice, and which I do believe I am in regulating my nervous system and helping myself as a business owner, is trust timing. Know that your timing will come. And if it's not, it usually is a no. It's a yes or not yet. And if it is a no, it's because something better is going to be coming your way. And for me, even the client timing, I'm like, thank goodness it didn't work out 2 years ago. Thank goodness. Because I was still a teacher 2 years ago. When was I going to fit that in my schedule? I also would have been underballing myself, and I wouldn't have the systems in place that I have now. Because now I very much have systems set up that if I take on a new client, I have these systems where like, oh, okay, this is good. I know how to do this. Like, for example, I had this affluent family hire me to do a family presentation, come to their house, educate them about nutrition, food labels, how to help reverse diseases, how to help with ADHD, and then afterwards provide them menus and healthy things. And I have an app that I built that I can curate and customize to that person. So now if another family hires me to go speak to them about nutrition, I have the basics set up. Same with my NBA players. I have a system in place of how I do menus working with the chefs. I have travel menus, I know what to do. I have now a client who signed on to my 4-month coaching program, which I haven't had a client sign on to that in a year because I've been turning clients away from that due to my time. But I had a client just sign up yesterday, and now it's good practice because I get to rework my system for that. So if I do have another client sign up, I'm like, oh, okay, this is great. So everything is a test for me of making sure I have all my systems in place so I can grow successfully. And so those are just some things like everything is about timing, trusting the timing, and knowing that what's meant for you will come to you when it's your time. But it really has allowed me as a business owner to set the foundation of building systems. And that has been the best thing that I've learned in the past 8 months is how to build systems. So crazy.
Question on that. Trusting and timing, because as you said, timing doesn't always happen on our timeline. And we might stay in, and it's not even that, oh, it didn't happen, it's okay, my life is so great anyways. A lot of times the life that we live isn't what we want or what we like, or there might even be some pain or, suffering or whatever might be the case. How you have that sense of, let's say, or if you don't, maybe you can just talk through it.
Yeah.
But in the way that you talked, it sounded like you have this certainty that it will happen. There's no question about it. You might not know the timing, but you have the certainty that it will happen versus having that fear of or doubt, oh, it might not happen. Like, walk me through
how to navigate that. Okay, so for me, it does come down to my faith, and also I do believe manifestation. What energy you put out there will come back. And I've seen it happen in real time, just never on my timeline. So because I've seen it happen before in different ways, and because of who I am as a person, it will happen. It's just, again, might not be the way I want, and pain and stuff will happen. Like, I've been in situations where I swore things would happen by a certain time, and I would release that and be okay if it didn't happen. But there's nothing wrong with saying that it's going to happen. And if it doesn't happen on that time, you have to at least be okay with it. You can't beat yourself up. Like, when it comes down to even like, I'll tell you, like, just with business and the book I've been working on, I'm like, I thought it would have been out in 2025, the book I was working on. And I had swore, I was like, it's going to be out, it's going to be out, it's going to be out. And I'm like, it's okay though, because it's done. It will happen. It will come out. And it's just releasing your stress and your anxiety around a timeline where you can't be married to a timeline, but you can have hope. And I think for me, I'm such a person who has so much hope that things will work out, that even if I do say by this time this will happen and it doesn't happen, I'm okay with it. And you have to get in this mindset to surrender the outcome and the timing, but while also still holding on to hope. It's one of the things I've learned to develop, and also learning as I grow as a businesswoman, that whatever energy you put out there of like me being, working with 4 celebrities, I do believe I'm going to be working with 4 celebrities or 4 NBA players or athletes. I'll say that 4 professional athletes and their chefs.
Being specific.
That's going to happen. Yes. Being specific. You got to be specific. That's going to happen. Do I know the timeline of when it's going to happen? No, but I know it's going to happen. And when I believe it, I'm putting that out there. And I've seen countless stories of it, even like down to a couple of years ago, I'll give this example. A couple of years ago, in 2023, I made a joke with all my friends. I'm like, I'm going to be married by October 2025. I told my pastor, I told everybody around, I was like, I'm going to be married October 2025. But I didn't really believe it, because I'm like, who am I going to be married to? What am I going to do 2025? But I just kept saying it. And the time came and people were like, so you getting married this year? I was like, no, but it's coming. I said, oh, it's coming. It might not be this year.
Do you know,
like,
why did you not have the belief versus when you have the belief? Like, what contributes towards that?
I think it's the envisioning. I wasn't in a headspace 2 years ago to be in a relationship.
So maybe it was like more from the sense of like need versus like trusting okay.
Yeah, I think that's it, because I wasn't in the headspace. If you asked me 2 years ago if I wanted a relationship, I was like, no, I want no distractions. I want nothing in my way. I don't want that.
But you wanted to get married at the same time.
But I wanted to get married at the same time. So I was like, why not? Why fucking not? Just ask for it. So, but for me, it was a mindset thing where you and I talked about this. I feel now more than ever that I am ready for a relationship. Even though my schedule is so beyond bonkers, I am ready for the right man to be coming into my life, to be investing in a relationship. Now, if it doesn't happen, because I've been single for 4 years and I've been on 1 date in 4 years, if it does not happen, I still am okay with that, because I trust that the path of my life and everything that's happened that I didn't even ask for has been better than what I would have asked for. Me getting my NBA player back in 2023, when I was trying to get a teaching job, that actually I was turned down from so many teaching jobs, and I continually did not get a teaching job over and over and over again. And I didn't understand. I'm like, why? I'm good at what I do. Why am I not getting these teaching jobs? I'm just filling in as a sub. Yet when I got the NBA player, for me, it was like, okay, I got this NBA player. Cool. I'll do it part-time. But like, I really need this teaching job. And then I got that blessing that ended up growing to now my business taking off and things of that nature, where I'm so much happy and more blessed being here that I didn't ask for that. So my mentality is, I've seen it in the past happen, of meeting people and getting opportunities that I did not ask for, that were better than what I had envisioned. So that for me, no matter, even if I put a goal out there, even if I put hopes out there and they don't happen, I trust that whatever's coming will be better. And I've learned to look at situations, every situation, and be like, this is a learning experience. No matter what happens, if it's dating, whatever it is, if it's a relationship, if it's a friendship, if it's a client, what can I learn from this experience and what can I take to move forward? And for me, I'm in a very blessed position right now. I think also because I set really strong boundaries, that I love all of my clients. I do not have one stressful client whatsoever. I don't because I don't call that upon my life, and I won't take them on. So I am so blessed to have amazing freaking clients that I literally love all of them, and I'm friends with all of them, get along with all of them. And it's amazing because I called that into my life, where some people I've seen around them, they limit their daydreams. They limit their dreaming, and they set themselves as like, of course, I always get the people who can't afford it. Of course, I get the people who are always late. Of course, I get these people.
Have you ever had any of that mindset?
I did in the past. Yes. I had a scarcity mindset.
What changed? Like what helped you to step out of it?
My environment, changing my environment. And I love my family up and down, but my family struggled a lot financially growing up. And my parents would do anything for anybody. They were so kind. They're caring. Work usually came first for them. And there's a lot of healing and whatnot that I've done. But I knew that certain situations I was in, people would teach me. And we talked about this last time of like, oh no, that's not how it's supposed to be. You're like, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to help you through this. And so when I started to get mentored, coached, and I sought out people who are in places where I'm like, if they can be rich, why can't I? Why can't I do that? Like, I have a good personality. I have this. They have an amazing marriage. Why can't I? So for me, it was a shift of mindset to get out of this scarcity mindset. And a question that one of my mentors asked me was, were you ever, because I struggled a lot with scarcity mindset around money. Like, I was fixated on money all the time. I do feel like sometimes I still struggle with it. Like, I'll find moments where I struggle with it, but then I'm constantly blessed. I'll give you an example and then I'll go back to the scarcity mindset. A few days ago, one of my clients was like, hey, I have to stop for the summer. She's going through like medical stuff. She's like, I have to stop for the summer. I'm so sorry about this, last minute notice. I said, no worries. I took a breath and I said, it's okay. I'll be provided for. The next day, I have a client literally schedule a call with me and she's like, I want to work with you. And I said, okay. She's like, I want to do your coaching program. And I'm like, okay, like I don't typically do that, but okay. Sign the contract that day. And I'm like, how? I was like, why am I sitting here stressing about things that'll happen? And if things do happen and fall through, I do trust that something else will come my way. And you have to believe it and you have to tell yourself that something will do it. Your mindset can change. I go back to the Jim Carrey example all the time. He wrote himself $1 million check, carried around all the time. And then when he actually hit that, he's like, look, I hit it. And he didn't grow up with that. So the scarcity mindset I grew up around of having limited beliefs of we're not meant for greater things. They have a lot of money, so they can do those things. They can be able to do that because they have that. And like, I still like, my mom always tells me, she's like, please be humble, be humble, be humble. Like, be humble, stay where you're at. Like be in this mindset that, you know, I don't want you to get this crazy mindset. So for me, I told my parents, I told them a few days ago, I was like, I swear, like this guy's it. I'm going to be engaged by next year. And I like told them that. And they were like, stop. My dad and mom were like, stop. My brother's like, oh my gosh, stop with your delusion. I'm like, why? What's the worst? What's the worst thing that could happen? That I'm wrong? So? Then I'm wrong. But at least I am envisioning that for myself, that one day it will happen. Might not be on my timeline, but at least I'm putting it out there and holding on to the hope that, yeah, I am going to have that one day. Yeah, I'm going to have a very healthy family. Yeah, I'm going to have celebrity clients. Yeah, I'm going to be having my own talk show. Why not? Why not envision those things? Even if it doesn't happen, why can't I envision it? Why are you limiting your own beliefs? And even with scarcity, that was what I'm going back to. My mentor had asked me, she's like, Julia, truthfully, has there ever been a day in your entire 31 years of your life that you could not afford food or anything? And I was like, no, there's never been a situation like that. And she's like, then where is this scarcity mindset coming from? And that got me, because I was like, well, freak. I don't know. Why do I have this mindset that I can't afford things? And so it showed me that I can create this in my head of what I deserve and what I want. And I even have clients tell me too, like, I've had clients call me out, you're not charging enough. Why can't I have it? Why can't you have it? I have a big, beautiful mansion house and an amazing marriage. Why can't you have it, Julia? And I'm like, you're right. Why can't I have it? I can have that. So like, you have to also believe it and envision it. And the importance of sitting down and daydreaming is so important. Sometimes I've been doing this a lot more on my couch after staring at my computer, because I'm back in school, overachievers. Back in school doing coursework. And sometimes I'll go on my couch for 20 minutes. I'll close my eyes and I'll just daydream. And I'll daydream and envision futures and things I want, a partner I want, a ring I want, a home I want, a life I want, traveling I want, the kind of love I want. And I'll just sit and daydream that. And so there's a lot of things that, again, the worst thing that could happen is it not happening, and you'll still be okay with that. I'll still be okay with that.
Yeah, life's still going to be the same.
It is. Okay. Nothing's going to change. Yeah, so many thoughts. So go ahead.
Several thoughts. I like that you said about kind of the trust thing, that it's not just trusting, it also sounds like there's another angle or another part of it that is acceptance. That you trust, but also you accept what is or what comes. And I think part of it also is accepting that maybe what you think is best for you might not be best for you.
Yeah.
Or what you think is your path might not be your path. And just being, and probably the third one that comes with that is being open. Yes. Open to new things coming in, being open to being wrong or having the wrong assumptions.
Yes.
And also I think with getting stuck on that timeline, I think it's less about the timeline than the meaning we add to it, hitting or not hitting it, where it's like, oh, just because I didn't hit it, it means this and that, where I feel people that are in that mindset of scarcity with this like, oh, don't say that, or don't dream, or like, when will enough be enough, like the whole thing.
It's
where
true.
I feel like a lot of it comes from that place of like, it seems like the fear of failure or things going wrong, and also not even that, but how you're going to be perceived once they start to go wrong or things don't go according to the plan. It's not just, and because I have been thinking about it, failure, I understood it in the recording with a client where there's a difference, because fear of failure. Okay. Am I afraid of failure? Not really. Okay. What am I afraid of then? I'm afraid of how I'm going to be seen or perceived when I fail. So it's not actually, not everybody, of course, but it's not even the failure itself that we're afraid of. We are afraid of what we associate. Yeah. What we're going to be perceived as, or what we're going to be, what others going to think. And then like, I'm going to look like this idiot that said that I'm going to achieve it in this time. And then I won't. It's kind of, because once the failure happens, like if nobody knew that you went, let's say you have this one goal that you're working towards, which is another, like, oh, there's so many things, but like there's this goal that you want to work towards, that you're working towards, and you say nobody even knows that you're working on it. And first of all, how many people actually can follow through without saying everybody or at least one person about the goal that they're working towards for themselves. But also, if you go and achieve that goal, or not even achieve, if you fail that goal, nobody knows how much you care about it versus when people know. You know, like it's kind of like, is it failure, or is it kind of fear of how you're going to be perceived when you fail? The other one that I wanted to add, this probably is a topic alone, so we can get back to this. But with being humble, this is something that I heard one entrepreneur say. It's so good. Being humble isn't about thinking less of yourself. It's about thinking more of others. Where I feel like a lot of times we praise, or the way it's kind of promoted is that, oh, don't be full of yourself. And it's like, well, I can back it up.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm being arrogant, prick, talking kind of whatever about myself.
Like I'm the best and I'm this.
Yeah. But what if you are the best? You're not being like an asshole when you say you're the best, when you're actually the best. And you have, like, you can back it up with, like, I am at the top of the world. Proof. Like, you know, so I feel like it's kind of being humble. It comes from that place of like, and I do feel like a lot of it does come from feeling intimidated. So it's like, oh, then don't get like too full of yourself. But it's like, there's difference between being humble and, because that one is more so like you're just confident. You know who you are, you know what you have accomplished, and you can back it up. I literally had in the episode that came out, I think it was this week, we had this conversation about kind of, he would say that a lot of people think that he's like, oh, he's not humble, he's arrogant and all those things. And he would explain the whole thing. And I'm like, I agree, because you're not being arrogant. You're just confident, and you know the level you're at. And you just communicate it.
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Yeah, you and I know we could talk forever. I think the failure part does come with confidence and time. Like for me, I'm a very confident person. I am. And it took me a while, and some people might perceive it as cocky, but I don't think I go around talking about myself and things like that. My sister might disagree. She's whatever. But sometimes, you know, like people might be like, oh, she thinks she's better, but like that's more on you and your thoughts of me than how I see myself. Like, I think for me, I go about every day, how can I give back? How can I help somebody? How can I offer my advice and skills? And I'm a person that, like, if I have an answer and somebody asks me a question, I'll give it to them. Like, somebody asked me the other day, they're like, do you have any recommendations for like how to lower cholesterol? And it's like, they're not a client, not anything. And I was like, yeah, sure. Just, you know, here's some advice, here's some guidance, go ahead and do that. And like, I don't always believe, you know, if I know the answer, I'm gonna help you and guide you. It's the failure part though. Even if I'm not right about timeline, I know myself that it will happen eventually. And like I said, if it doesn't, then I'm okay with that. And if people are like, oh, it didn't happen, I'm like, you know what? It just wasn't meant to be. It wasn't my time. Or I'll say something better is coming.
Like, what is about that all the, like, it just didn't happen. Like, it doesn't, you don't have to become like victim about it. Like, it's even that energy where I feel like it's partly why I think it's something where you have to be careful who you talk about your failures or things that don't work. I don't even believe in failure in general, but like, let's say failures where something doesn't go like according to the plan or whatever, you don't get the opportunity, whatever, where I feel like you have to be careful who you talk to, because there are people that can kind of create pity party where it's like, oh, and I'm like, I don't need that. Like, I don't need that. I don't want that energy. Like,
no.
And I'm okay if there's a space where I can just kind of, if I need to have the like emotional blood, like just kind of let it out and vent a bit. But then it's like, even, and I had a conversation with somebody about it, even 5 minutes in, I'm like, you know what? I don't like this. Like, I just don't like it. I don't like that energy.
And you can tell and get a sense of people's energy real quick. And that's something you had said. The humble part, I really, really like that about, like, you can still hold that confidence, and it's, you know, you think more of others when you speak, and like, what, there are certain environments I'm not going to bring up my success. I'm not going to bring up anything. I'm not going to bring up my wins because I know how to read a room and I'm very intuitive in that. The other thing,
and you also don't need that acknowledgement from others for who you are.
No.
Yeah.
And I do struggle. That is something I do struggle with though, is that I'm very much like, we talked about this last time, of the proving yourself. And I think even like wanting to, like one of my friends who we spoke about before this, like I really want to text them and be like, hey, this is what's going on in my life. This is what I'm doing. This is something cool that happened. But it's also letting go of like, why do I need to share all that? Like, why do I need to share all of this with them? Or like, I hope that one person sees my story, or I hope that one person is checking my Instagram.
That's the distinction there, because one thing is that when you share and there's no expectation to receive kind of any kind of reaction or whatever, you just share because you genuinely are like, oh my gosh, this is the thing that is going on. But then it's different when you share and you're like, I need
something. But like for me, it's like sometimes I just want to share it and know that like this is what I'm doing, and you know, I want a little validation, and something I'm working through, and I'm much better than I was years ago. Is like, being okay not being validated. Like, why do I need? Where does this need for validation come from?
What do you think is the answer to that? Like, where is it coming from?
Growing up of being a middle child, of just needing to be validated. Of like, look, I did this thing. I did this. Like, look at me. I did really cool things. I'm awesome. Like, I think that's where I want that validation piece. But I do get it. At the same time, I'm just like, why do I need to let the world know though? Like, where do I need the validation? Like, it's funny when I post pictures, I'm debating on like turning off comments, because I'm like, I don't need your comments. I don't need that stuff. I just want to post and have it out there. It's like, I'm proud of this accomplishment, but I don't need the comments, which is fine. I don't mind comments because I turned off comments access. So only people I follow can comment on my stuff. So that's something like I set that boundary because I was getting really, really mean comments. I've had to block people on Instagram because people would spam me and stuff. And so I was like, recently I had to block this woman. She was spamming me 20 videos of like what I'm doing is wrong and stuff. And I'm like, I don't want this. So you're blocked. And, I think another thing is like we talk about energy, what you're willing to take in, what you're putting out, and what you're willing to claim upon your life. Like, I've been in like weddings after weddings, bridal showers, baby showers, every single weekend. Every single weekend I have a party.
I just keep watching I'm getting tired watching your stories.
Okay, so you get it, right? Like, so you get it. And I said no to 2 bachelorettes this summer, no to 2 bridal showers, no to a wedding this summer. So I've already said no to things. And it's a blessing. I'm blessed to have this many. I'm blessed to be having these opportunities and friends and stuff. And so I had made a joke while coaching on a Saturday, because I coach Saturday mornings. I was like, yeah, guys, I won't be here next Saturday. I have a wedding. And then they were like, man, that's a lot. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going broke. And I said, hold up. And I paused myself. I was like, JK, I am not broke. I'm rich in life. I don't claim being broke upon my life. I'm not broke. I am financially well off. I'm rich in life. And yes, it's a lot going on, but it's, you know, this is my life right now. But I caught myself on mic in front of a class of 40 people and corrected myself, because I used to joke when I was younger. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so broke. I'm not. Why would I claim that upon my life? Even if I have $20 in my bank account, I'm not broke. I'm not. And so it's a mentality thing that I will never, ever, ever say in my life. I stopped about a year ago or 2 years ago. I stopped saying I can't afford that or I'm broke. Those words will not come out of my mouth. They will not come out of my mouth because I do not claim that upon my life. Why am I going to put something out there that I don't want? I am rich in life with experiences, with friends, with health, with wealth, with even if I'm not, even like we talk about financial freedom. Yeah, I'm not sitting there with millions of dollars or $500,000 or even $250,000, but I'm freaking rich in life because of where I am, who I am, my personality, what I've worked for. Like, I'm proud of this person.
And you're still young as well.
And I'm still young. I am 30 years old, 31 in a couple months. So like, I think it's very important to work on, like, people listening, like working on your verbiage so that you are not claiming. I don't want people claiming things that they don't wish. Same with illnesses, right? Like, oh, I'm always sick. I'm always tired. Well, no shit. You literally claim that all the time.
Yeah,
where like for me, there are moments that I go through and I'll make a joke with my friends. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tired. But it's like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I feel tired. I am tired is different than I feel tired. I am is what you claim. I feel is what you have in that moment. So I do not identify as someone who's tired. I do not identify as somebody who's broke. I am rich. I am smart. I am all these things. And I am healthy. My body operates so well. And even if you struggle with stuff, like I've struggled with health things in the past, but I claim that I am healthy. I am fine. I am healed. And if I'm not, well, I have resources to heal myself. Like, how blessed am I to have those resources? So it really is a mindset, because as someone who came from a scarcity mindset and worked my way through it, I do not claim that upon my life. And you can't sit there and say that your life is, you can't claim those things on your life. And I don't. And you want to redefine certain words, redefine what rich means to you, redefine what power means to you, redefine what financial it means to you. So there's a lot of different avenues you can go in that I wish people would just like sit down. And if you guys listening do not know, take it from me and Astra. We both coach. We coach people mentally through everything. Like, and even on the podcast.
Yeah, we both have podcasts with plenty of episodes.
Yes. Like, that's what I mean. You have to be able to claim that upon your life and call that into existence. And for me, I'm a woman of faith. So everything is like, goes to that. But I do believe the energy you put out will come back to you.
You touched on that, like with the daydreaming and catching the negatives. It's one of the things that I wanted to touch on. And I also wanted to mention with being tired. This is something that one entrepreneur said. It's so good. He was like, yeah, so you're tired. Well, everything you see that is built out there that is valuable and like magnificent, it's being built by tired people. Anything that is great, the person behind it has been tired. Because they literally give them all of them, and it just takes so much from you that, of course, you're going to be tired. But it's like, why look at it as it's kind of like, duh, like, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of energy to build something meaningful, and also being in a role where you're supporting others, it takes energy. Like, if you really care, to actually be present and to support and check in and all these things, like it takes a lot. And that's where I think even like I have very similar stance with negative emotions of like, oh, everybody's running away from them. And it's like, well, one, it's part of life, but also when you're growing, you won't feel good. Like, it's like, why do we expect
a lonely journey?
Yeah. And even like with meaning, it's another thing that I see a lot is that, even like your episode with I don't remember the name, the basketball player that I was listening.
TJ.
TJ, you were asking him like if you have any days when you don't feel like motivated, or like if you have any, how do you navigate them? And I was listening and I was thinking like, I have more days that I'm not motivated than does it
same though.
Does it mean that I'm not living like my like purpose, or I'm not finding fulfillment in what I do? No, it's just a lot. Like it's a lot, especially when you care and you want. Yeah, it's tiresome, but it's like for a while now, I don't focus on feeling motivated. I don't focus on feeling good. I just focus on what is meaningful and just to even create it, put it out there. Even what you said about the book, it probably has been much more extensive work than you anticipated, but how much better will it be once it comes out?
It's true.
You know? And that's
wise.
And like that's where I think it's very important to maybe change that relationship. And that's kind of what I wrote about daydreaming, is that we all daydream anyways, because like it's only about kind of what's the content of the daydreaming. Are you daydreaming about what's going to go wrong? Are you daydreaming about what happened wrong in the past? And I have been going, like, this week I went on this one walk where I was like, okay, this whole walk, whenever my mind starts to drift into something negative, I need to, at the very least, I just bring it back to this moment. And I'm walking and I'm like, come back, come back. And just that alone, just practicing to be here in this moment, like, you can add positive. I think it's a bit easier when you add something to occupy your mind with, but still, whether you bring yourself back to this moment or you kind of visualize where you want to be, and also how you're going to feel, not just what you want, but also how you're going to feel being that person or having like that lifestyle, that like friends, relationship, whatever, how you're going to feel. And just doing that, I started Joe Dispenza's book on meditation. So I have been going into his world quite a bit, where a lot of it is about kind of, and it's interesting to go through that, where it's kind of like you feel it before you like manifest it or you see it physically. It's not the other way around, where you see it and then you believe it. First you believe it and then you see it.
And then you see it. And I think people struggle with their understanding of what manifestation is. I know some people are like, oh, it's woo-woo, it's witchy, it's this. It's like, no, you are putting out that belief, whether you're a believer in God or not, you are putting out this belief and asking. So for me, as a believer, I am putting that manifestation of asking to God. You ask whether somebody's asking to the universe, asking to God, like, you are still asking and putting it out there, whatever you believe in. And for me, the daydreaming aspect, Jalen actually said this, Brunson was like, you can think the worst case scenario possible, but you have to do something about it. And it's so true. If you're having a moment where you're like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm thinking of, what if I fail? What if this happens? What if this doesn't go right? What if I don't get a job? What if this, like, what if it does? What if it all works out? What if it goes your way? And it is literally a mindset shift.
It's kind of like that quote. If you have all the negatives, what ifs, you might as well have the positives as well.
but I think a lot of people, get stuck in this negative spiral mindset of nothing works out for them. And I've seen it happen, and I know people where it happens to, people I'm related to where it happens, or in connections with, where it's this negative fixed mindset of like, they believe one way and they're not open to believe other things. Or even like for me, of what I put out there, I get called, oh my gosh, you're crazy, you're this, like, and then I'm like, why not? Why not? Why can't it happen? Why can't the things I'm asking for happen? And it's just, I think a lot of people do get fixed in this mindset of like,
but also you have the gift of awareness, because many people.
Awareness is step one. I say that in my coaching program. I say that in everything. If you have awareness, you're already winning. If you have awareness of what you need to do better in, you are winning. Even if you're like, I have all these health issues, mindset issues, I'm like, the fact that you're aware is a win. You are aware, and that's number one. So we have to be focused on that awareness aspect. It's crazy.
Do you know what helps to become aware?
Coaching people around, calling out certain things. Like, there were people, but also choosing your people wisely, because I was in a situation, I might have told you about this. My ex-best friend had hit my car, and then she like blew up on me, and she like said like, you're a walking anxiety stick, you have all these issues. Like, she said all these really mean things to me and gaslit me, where I had sat and questioned myself of, am I actually this person? And I had to go to my girlfriends, my other friends, and they were like, you are not that person. That is called projecting. They are projecting onto you. And so I choose more and more of who I'm spending my time with, who I talk with, who I communicate with, who I answer text of. I've gotten email after email recently of people who are like, I want to do this with you. I want to do that. I'm like, no, I don't have availability. No, I don't want to do this.
How do you choose people that you surround yourself with?
What it aligns with my values, whether it's people who align with my values, and a lot of it's like people who are full of faith. People have growth mindsets is the number one thing for me. Curious about learning, curious about the world, and not sold on one principle or idea. For example, I'm 100% plant-based. I fully believe in being plant-based. Believe in it. Is that going to stop me from talking to people who don't do that? No, it's not. Because it comes down to a mindset of, are you taking care of your health, and are you interested in taking better care of your health? So like for me, I'm like, you don't have to be plant-based, but as long as you're eating more fiber, eating more plants, that's all I care about. Like I want you to just make sure that you are getting more fiber in, because we know that that helps in longevity purposes. So I've learned to less and less put that pressure. I used to be a lot more like, I only want to be friends with people. Not that wasn't realistic, but like I only want to really associate or date people who are plant-based. Where like now it's like, no, I want friends with people I can have conversations like I'm having with you, and we can talk about anything in regards to faith, energy.
And you
we
can still
talk
be
about,
different.
yes, very different people, very different values, very different things, but it comes down to an openness of your mindset. And within 3 seconds, I can get somebody's energy. And I think it's intuition. Like I have very, very, very strong intuition. And I've been blessed with that. I do think like when I walk into a room, I'm able to tell where the energy is settled. And it's one of those things that I'll talk to somebody and then be like, okay, this is a conversation I'm wrapping up, or I'm going to dive a little bit more deeper into. But you're able to tell, the more healed you are, the more you're able to recognize that these conversations, you don't need to get that person to like you. I'm around people of very high caliber, and I'm like, if they don't want to talk to me or they don't like me, it's okay. I'm just doing my job. Like they don't have to like me. They don't have to. I'd rather be respected than liked.
That was another question. I don't know if I asked you that question, but I did ask that question to people. Like, would you rather be loved or respected? That was the question. The other one I had.
I feel like we did talk about that. I just can't remember.
We might have touched on it in the episode. The other question that I thought of it before we recorded to ask is about the connection. I had this. I've been working on YouTube videos, and with that, I'm doing like a lot of thinking and kind of conceptualizing things. And I had this really interesting thought of kind of, I will give you the context. I will give you the question and then the context. So question is, what is the question? Let me formulate it. So the idea is about the connection. Like what is it that contributes towards feeling sense of connect? Well, there's difference between connection and sense of connection, but let's say connection, not just like you feel connected, but you actually are connected. Yeah. And the kind of the context is that I was thinking about this kind of high performers that kind of work on themselves and all those things, where it is good, but at the same time, it can kind of serve as coping mechanism not to be vulnerable with somebody, where you feel like, oh, I need to become this version of me and then I'll be ready for relationship. Where what ends up happening, you get two people come together who are over optimized versions of themselves, and they try to connect, but they connect at the surface level, because for you to connect, you need to be vulnerable. And it's kind of like they want to use this self-development as a way to avoid getting vulnerable, because they feel like once I become this person, I don't have to be vulnerable. And I was just thinking, as I was kind of working through that, I was thinking, okay, like it's kind of like they have this sense of, if I achieve this, then I'll be feeling connected or whatever. And then I was thinking, what actually contributes towards real connection? And that's the question.
It's a really good. You got me stumped. Connection.
Yeah, I've been thinking.
Like, I know. I feel like I'm thinking about it too, though. If you're connected, I think there comes a part of one commonalities and the same space environment, right? Like where you are, and you can find commonalities based on that. For example, I'm going on a vegan conference. I'm going to a vegan conference in Las Vegas, Nevada, in September for my birthday. And I already know there's that mutual connection of all wanting to be healthier individuals. We all are compassionate people. We care about that. Now, I'm going with one of my clients who also is a believer. And so she's vegan and believer. We already have that closer connection because we have those two mutual interests. Then she also works out and I work out. We have the other connection. And it's not always the case because you can be very, very different. And I have some friends I'm very well connected with and it's different. We usually have some sort of mutual interest, or the other part is, you're right, the vulnerability aspect. So for example, one of my good friends who I'm one of my best friends today, she and I both, I didn't know really her from Adam, but this was back in 2018. I went through a really, really rough breakup. Like that guy shattered me. And I don't even want to say broke me, but like I was real messed up after that breakup. And since then I've learned a lot about myself, but I went through that breakup and she was going through a divorce. Very different. Pain is pain. We know that pain is pain. Everybody's situations are different, but she and I developed a connection because of how vulnerable we both were in that state. And again, we didn't know what we liked. We didn't like what woman of faith, not. We were both together because of that. That I think back to when I was in a tornado had hit a house I was staying in. And I think back to that, didn't know these people. I was staying at a house because the house I was supposed to stay at was the guy and I that I told you about were not together anymore. So my friend was like, come stay at our Airbnb, stayed at his Airbnb. And I didn't know these people from Adam, yet we got connected because we were both surviving a deadly tornado. And then we kind of bonded off that and built that vulnerability experience. So I do believe there is that vulnerability aspect, like you mentioned, that helps build
It also
connection.
sounds like pain can connect.
Pain. Oh,
or
yeah.
Suffering.
Oh, for sure. I think that's one of the biggest things. Like people get connected because they learn, they experience that pain together, and it's sad because like you don't want those things to have to do it, but like I think that is,
but it's also a
part
life.
that I feel like that part really opens people up. When you have that pain together, you're able to connect in a different way, and that really does open people up. So
yeah, you did share.
yeah.
It was very interesting. It's kind of like you can connect over kind of things that are aligned.
Yes.
But then you can connect with somebody where like practically nothing is aligned, but there is this moment where you're both of you are vulnerable in some capacity and you connect over that, and superficially or like at surface level, you might have nothing
in common.
Yeah. But there's and that's kind of the interesting piece that I found about it, is that kind of, and also with that sense of connection. I was talking to a guest of mine where we were kind of like talking about how nowadays a lot of young kids, they get sense of connection by like gaming with somebody in the headphones, and that's kind of like how they can mistake that with connection. But it's a sense of connection. It's not the actual connection. So you need to find a way to also distinguish the two. Because I think a lot of people, they are chasing connection in things that create sense of connection. And they might have never actually experienced real connection. And I feel like a lot of high performers and high achievers have something similar with chasing the sense of connection into, we have aligned goals, we have aligned visions, we have aligned this and that. But it's like, can you be vulnerable with each? Can you show kind of not so pretty side, or something that you might be like embarrassed about, or feel some shame, or like whatever is the uncomfortable feeling? Can you show the real you? Because then once the other person shows you the real you and you're able to show the real you, that's the real connection, because you're fully seen.
Yeah. I mean, the truth beyond that is very on point. And I think that's why a lot of people, couples, for example, when people first get intimate with each other, they have this connection because they are at their most vulnerable self with one another. And I think that's where that connection deepens, because it's literally the most vulnerable aspect that you can get to. And a lot of people jump for that because they want to feel that immediate sense of the connection with somebody.
Yeah, and that is sense of connection.
So it's one of those things I think people struggle to discern, is the fact of like, oh, I'm going to go ahead, be intimate with this guy, for example. oh, we're so connected. We are one and one connected. And I'm like, you missed the whole beginning part of really getting to like know each other. It was just you jumped to have that connection or sense of connection with this person, but you don't really know them. And then people a lot of times build a relationship because they have that sense of connection. Sometimes it works out, but I've seen many stories of that happen of like, yeah, we just went ahead, we're intimate, and then, then we got to know each other. And for me, I'd rather opposite happen of like, you really get to know each other and then that happens. But a lot of people, and me included, I crave that connection with somebody of feeling like loved and cuddled and close. But I also have to realize I can give that to myself, and I have to work on giving it to myself. And being connected with myself is so important. I've seen so many different sides of the spectrum of what people just define as connection. And then when you assess it, you're like, is this really connection, or is it like commonalities? So what's your definition of it?
I think I feel like it's hard to define. That's partly why I
Yeah,
go through these questions, because a lot of it is like based on how I feel, and I'm like, okay, this is different than this. And I thought I had the same thing where I was like, oh, I was trying to connect with somebody by being like, we both love self-development, we both love sports, and I was like, I was not being vulnerable. I was kind of in my secure being like, okay, I have my walls up, I'm still safe, good, nice. But I wasn't actually letting the other person in. And that's where I started to think about, okay, like, is it actually connecting, or you're trying to get this sense of connection by being like, oh, we align, but I don't have to be vulnerable. And it's like, and it's challenging because you can end up never actually experiencing the connection because you keep trying to protect yourself. And there's something about, I had a guest who was talking about, I think she said that something along the lines of like, love is pain or something, where it's kind of like very similar, because one thing that you do when you're being vulnerable, it's like, here's a knife, here you go. And I have no control in what you're going to do with it, but I trust you with giving the knife. And what I have learned with practicing being more vulnerable is, over time, it becomes less about what the other person does, where you build that trust with yourself, with however they respond. I got myself. And it always comes back to your relationship with yourself, where it still is vulnerable, but you go through enough experiences where you practice being vulnerable, where you might be like, the other person might use that knife against you. And you don't know when they're going to use it. They might use it like 5 years down the line.
That's what happened to me.
And like that's where you go through that experience. And I think the hardest thing is then to open your heart up again, and be vulnerable again. But it's something that I think for me, the answer that I came to was that, like, kind of what contributes towards, like, when I feel that it's not even sharing, it's when I share and I feel vulnerable, that and that is being received, and there's this safe space, and the other person can hold space for that. I think that's where I feel that the real connection. But it requires for me to step into that vulnerability.
I was going to say, so one, we could talk about like, what are ways people can practice being vulnerable, but also you can be vulnerable, but the other person could not be. And that's
very important who you're vulnerable with. Yeah.
Yes. So for me, I would say, for the most part, I'm an open book. Like, I don't really hold back anything. I'm pretty vulnerable with things, but
but you're open about the things that you're comfortable with within yourself.
Yes. But the things that I'm like teary-eyed over, crying over, very select few people, very, very, very select, will see that side of me. So I can be open with what I'm going through and things happening, but the side where I'm actually like getting emotional and crying, very, very, very select. Like, usually it's me on my own. And it's I feel like, I've been I've been choosing who I am doing that with, and it's changed over the years.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of times of just like processing by myself, crying by myself, things happen, and I'm just like, okay, breathing through it. Like, because sometimes I'll call a friend and they're not available to talk, and then I'm like, okay, that's okay. Gotta process it on my own. Gotta get through it on my own.
Sometimes I even cry about that if it's very
oh,
vulnerable
yeah.
moment.
Oh yeah, you're like, why are you not picking
You
up
cry
the
about
phone?
that, and then you cry about the actual thing.
It's like, why are you not answering the phone? I'm not loved. I'm not important. What do you mean?
And that's also another part of the healing. It's just like going through that, and it's not. I have had the same thing where like I reach out and I'm in a vulnerable place and I already feel so vulnerable reaching out, and it's like that person is not there and I'm like, oh shit, I feel them like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, okay, now I need to grieve this. But
then it's also like, damn, they call me back tonight. I'm not crying tonight. It's right now or not.
I have had it where I message about something and I get a call 2 minutes later and I'm in the middle of cafe and I'm just like, kind of like, like wiping my tears away, because I'm practicing to embrace also being comfortable with those emotions being seen, because I might be comfortable with feeling them, but I might not be comfortable with showing them or be seen with them, or like be in an environment where strangers might be seeing them, because I grew up being that I need to be the strong one. I need to be the one that is always strong. Yeah, exactly. So like with that, I'm like, I grew up with this kind of like messaging, not even messaging, but kind of belief that I can't be seen not strong.
Yeah.
Like it's just like it's not allowed. I need to be.
Yeah. Well, I think I struggle with that too, though, because I try so hard to be like, no, I can make it through. It's all going to happen. And people tell me all the time, they're like, Julie, you are the most put together person. I was like, what do you mean? No, I'm all over it. And they're like, literally, you are the fit girl. You're this. And it's people's perception of me. But then I'm also like, people don't see that I'm working 12 hours a day, 15-hour a day. Monday worked 15 hours. Yesterday worked 12 hours straight. Today, another 12-hour day. It's like,
they see what they want to see.
They see what they want to see. Yeah. And they also see what I post. They don't see what goes on beyond
they also
doors
see what
where
you
I'm
show
frustrated. Them. Yes. They don't see where I'm frustrated and crying and annoyed and, and angry at this person or going through this or struggling with this. Like, it really is about perception. That's why social media is a highlight reel. It's not, it's not real. Per se, because again, people get all your highlights and they think like, oh, your life is just so glamorous and wonderful. And then you're like, nobody's seeing me get all upset and overworked outside at home and eat dinner at 10:30 p.m. at night. Nobody's seeing that. Like, it's really hard. I think we need to focus on like that perception. Yes, your perception matters of how you're viewed I'd say as a business owner. Like, I want to be viewed as that person that is confident.
But I think with
and
this,
educated.
like, it's important that it's kind of like we don't want to invite people to be like, oh, boo-hoo, my life is
yes.
But I think it's important that you have your inner circle with people that you can go to in those moments. You don't have to be public about it. Like, I feel like it's partly now everybody's like, oh, we need to share the real world, and it's like, yeah, but some things they're meant for you to go through in private, because even if you share some struggles, it's kind of like, I had this this brilliant thought that one guest shared on Wisdom in Action. You share from the wound that you have healed, not from the raw wound. Because when you are in that raw wound, you can share with your close people, but not publicly, because you're still healing through it. If you share it publicly, it can re-traumatize you. Where like it's not gonna help you in any capacity.
I've actually posted on Instagram before, and I've deleted things. I've like posted, and then I go back to my story, and I'm like, oh, let me delete that. And I literally am like, let me delete that. Like, sometimes what I post, because I'm like, I don't want these people to see. And I think the close friends feature is pretty cool on Instagram, because it's like, if you want to send to certain people, or like just you could send one thing to somebody. But yeah, usually like I have a couple girlfriends that I'll be like, I need to tell you, I need to talk to you about this, I need to do this. And then it's like, I don't also have to share everything with everybody, but that's, I think, the importance too of like having a close knit community and having people you can trust and talk to. And I've always been a talker to process my emotions. Like, that's just how I've been. I'm like, I need friends who will let me talk about the same thing over and over and over again without any judgment. And I've had some friends in the past like be like, stop talking about it. You're not talking about it. You're not doing this. And I'm like, no, you're not a real friend, because I will sit there. If you need to talk about whatever you need to talk about 100 times, I will listen to you until you feel
But I
like
think
you've
it's also
processed it.
awareness of like, I might not process things that way, but if you process things that way, as a friend, I understand, oh, you just need to process, you need that space. And I'm like, okay, do your thing. I'm here. And, you know, like it's kind of that ability to communicate. And I feel like it comes the deeper you are in that relationship, friendship,
100%.
whatever,
100%.
where it's like, okay, now I need to vent. Like, don't give me any advice. Don't think about fixing anything. Just sit there, give me space, and I just need to be like, I just need to let it out.
That's honestly what I've been more and more doing. That like I've had my friends that I can, you know, I can repeat the same thing over and over again. And some of them are like, me also being single, a lot of my friends are engaged in relationships, married, and they just like want to know. They're like, are you dating anybody, or do you anybody, or do you have a crush? Do you have this? And it's like they want to live through that experience. Or like some people, right? They've been in their job for 10 years. And they're like, talk to us about your business. Talk to us about something different. Talk to us about this. What are you doing? What is this? Like, they want to know something that's different to live vicariously through them or through me or whoever. And there's a lot, I mean, there's a lot to be said about, you know, creating that space. And I think it does go back to connection, because I do believe we all want to feel a sense of connection and have a community and have people that we can have that connection with, the authentic connection where like you can call somebody and they just know, like they'll hear your voice and they know. And I've had friends like call me and I would hear them crying and I'm like, I'm getting in my car. I'm coming over. Like, I'm here. What do you need? I'll pick up ice cream, pick up a coffee on the way. I'll show up at your house. Whatever you need, I'm here. Like, it within a first few seconds, I can get the tone. And like, I've had friends do that for me too. And I think that's something you learn because you're so connected to them. So you learn how to reciprocate that and do things like that just to like, it makes you also feel good. It makes you have that connection and be like, wow, I can have this connection with friends that, you know, I want with a partner one day, but I don't have it with a partner right now. So there's a lot of different avenues on this. I know we talked about sense of connection, community, daydreaming, vulnerability. My question for you was how should somebody practice vulnerability?
Actually, before that, I feel like with a lot of what you said and what we talked about in this last piece is like, let's bring humanness back. Just being human. Vulnerability. I think a lot of the times you kind of know what are some of the things. It's even like, oh, I want to share this, but it's like, no. Maybe not, like, don't focus on publicly. Yeah. Like, publicly is like, no. But when it comes to like kind of people close to you, if there's something you want to say, if there's something you want to share, and it doesn't have to be anything big, it's kind of something that's inconvenient, or it might be you setting some boundary or communicating something you dislike or something that you would want, kind of something that would make you feel like I don't really want to say that, but I kind of like it's and usually, you know, you have at least one thing that you can instantly come up with, and or it's about that fear of what will be their reaction, what will they think when I share that. I feel like it's not too hard to find it. It's hard to practice it because it seems like you're so, especially at the beginning. Beginning is so tough because you feel so exposed. And it's especially if you're somebody who's like always in control. Everything is like, and now you're just like, it's like you take this control and you just throw it out, and it's you have no control.
Damn, girl. It's it's the losing, being okay with not being in control, being okay with not knowing the outcome, being okay no matter what the outcome is. And it is a mindset
being exposed.
while being exposed. It's truly,
or feeling
it's a
exposed.
mindset. Yes. It's just a mindset of being, and also being able to curate your words properly and how you feel. And it takes a lot of practice. I mean, there's so many different ways and avenues.
That's literally the answer. Like, you need to practice, and you need to be also careful who you share with.
Yes.
So that's where, like, I wouldn't say go and share some very deep with somebody straight away. Like, start with, like, it's kind of like you want to test people, how much you can trust them, how they respond, how you feel based on what they respond.
Yeah.
And don't feel like you have to force yourself to share something. Like, it has to kind of feel natural. It won't feel comfortable, but it has to feel like something that's kind of authentic. And it's very hard to give kind of direction and instructions on this because of how I know how hard, like, still to this day, it doesn't, like, I haven't had the time when I'm being vulnerable and it feels great. And I have been vulnerable a lot of times. Every time it's like, it's kind of like you just like, I just don't want to feel that.
It's really, it comes down though to you also being able to read the room and energy and who you can be vulnerable with. Because there are people I've met and I'm like, I don't want to be vulnerable with you. Why am I going to open up to this person?
You don't have to be vulnerable with everybody.
You don't. So even if, there's, I mean, again, we can definitely talk about this on future.
I was about to say, like, we need to have one of the episodes about these topics.
We will. So for everybody listening, Astra and I have like monthly, she'll be on my podcast, I'll be on hers. Next month, she'll be on my podcast.
Which one is this one? Is it third or fourth already?
No.
Third.
Fourth.
Okay.
Because I was on, wait.
We started on yours. No,
fourth. This is our fourth. Because this is my second time on yours, and this is you've been on mine twice. Yeah. So we're keeping it going. Already. We're keeping it going. We also love
just getting started.
Talk. Yeah, we're just getting started. But like, it's so true about the mindset and what questions we're asking and things to think about. And it really comes down to what you claim and what you ask for in your life, because you will get that. And they talk about the science of the brain and what you can call and what you can picture in your life. You need to practice that. Even if you're not living the life you want to live, start envisioning, following people, getting mentors, people who are in places you wish to be, so that you can start envisioning that life. Like I talk about my mentor all the time. I talked about it on my podcast and on other podcasts. She is in her 50s and living absolutely her best life. She works 3 days a week, travels all the time, amazing husband, amazing son, has everything like she could want. And I'm like, she worked her ass off to get there. And I'm like, I want that life. I want that. Like, and if I have to wait for it, I will wait for it. But it's you envisioning it, surrounding yourself with people who are like that. So yeah, I think again, I know you and I could talk so much about these things.
I mean, there's many episodes coming up, so like, just look out for them. So Julia, thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
With another amazing conversation and catching up on life.
I know. Oh, we will.